Hi, I'm Jeff Cohn. Looking forward to bringing you another episode of the Team Building Podcast, where we interview top-level team agents and broker owners from across the country that are working to scale their real estate businesses. I love talking about everything tech and how technology continues to assist us and help us with our reach. Sphere of engagement is going to be the topic of today, and I have an amazing guest that has chosen to dedicate her time to be on our podcast. So thank you so much to Nina Hein for coming on with us today from Homebot. And so Nina, just out of the gate, let's talk to our listeners about the importance of what Homebot does and how we're going to be able to help bring way more value to all of the people that have ever bought homes with us. And so I'll kind of break down how we know each other. It was probably over a year ago that I was introduced to Homebot through a top team in Denver, Colorado, the Griffith team, Chad and Dustin. And I asked them what their unique approach was to sphere engagement, because I had heard they were having a lot of success, and they said Homebot. And so I was like, well, what is Homebot? Well, in a nutshell, and she can correct me if I'm wrong, it's essentially software that they developed that would help generate an analysis, a statistical analysis specific to every property address in America. And so when you send them your database with their first name, last name, email address, and home address and zip code, they then will send a monthly analysis, which they call a snapshot, to all of the people that have bought homes with you. Well, why is this valuable to someone that's bought a home with you? Once they've bought, why would they care? Well, most people care every month about what the value of their home is. Most people care every month about how much they're spending on their mortgage. Most people care every month about what a refi might do for their bottom line, what changing their mortgage to a 15-year versus a 30 might do. And so the way they've developed this process, and so that it's RESPA and CFPB compliant, is they have created a platform where you partner with your broker, and your your lender, and your lender pays around $200 a month. Is that right, Nina?
That's correct.
The agent only has to pay $25 a month, up to a certain amount of addresses that you would put in. And then every time you close a transaction, or if you have a CSV file you can upload, it'll automatically send out a welcome email that you can customize. And every single month after that, every person that's ever bought with you will get this email. So I wasn't really sure. The verdict was out when I heard about the product. I signed myself up. It's been over 6 months ago. Nina signed me up and started sending me information about my property that I had just built. And I have a nice home in West Omaha, Nebraska. And I was curious to see how accurate the information was going to be. It's been spot on. I've been impressed with not only the data being accurate, but the way that data is displayed. So I don't mean to be stealing any thunder. Just wanted to set that up real quick. Our listeners are usually high Ds and really want to get answers right away. So Homebot will help you engage with your people. I think it's better than something like BombBomb, video messaging, mass emails that you send out with content, with copy. And why I think it's better is because it's specific to that buyer who just purchased that home. It's specific to their house. It's specific to their financial situation. And that is what I wanted to bring Nina on with us today to show us. So she is going to be able to do a screen share for anyone that wants to click over to YouTube. We'll include a YouTube link to this podcast for anyone that wants to see the visuals. Otherwise, Nina will just walk us through and try to explain to us what she's showing us. So Nina, welcome to the podcast. I think I've done all the talking up to this point.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, I know you're pretty successful at what you do, but do you need a job at Homebot? Because
hey, with the right offer, man, I'd probably invest in it.
Like, what are we doing here? You did
right.
it. No, that's awesome. Thanks so much for the introduction. And just to build a little bit upon what you said, all of the other things that you're using today are fantastic, right? We integrate with BombBomb. We love video messaging. You want to stay connected to your clients. You need to reach out to them. But you really want to empower them. That's really what it's about at the end of the day. And so what we know about homeowners is most people just don't understand how to manage their home because they're intimidated by that financial conversation. So Homebot's really a way for them to feel empowered by you, the agent or the loan officer, helping them build upon their equity and things that they can do with that. And that's what's creating the buzz. That's what's creating the engagement and that customer coming back to you, not searching for somebody else on another source or a website or through a referral, right?
Right. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and just so all of our listeners know, so from an SOI standpoint, we really don't do any paper. We don't send much out to anyone anymore. Our engagement is usually through viral marketing by sending a video every 2 weeks with our video blog, and then there's copy that goes along with it. And we've been doing that since 2011 when I first launched the team. And while people do engage, I get like 1,000 highlighted leads every 2 weeks off of sending that. I think that there can be better engagement with sending people this specific statistical data. I usually won't bring someone on the podcast until I've used them, but I do feel like I've used you from a consumer side, because I've been receiving those emails and I love them. And I say to my agents all the time, we can set people up on listing updates. Even someone that doesn't have a fancy client relationship management software can set people up with their local MLS tools to get a listing update. Just that, I think people would be willing to open every single month, every time a house sells in their neighborhood. But this is like light years beyond just knowing what's sold. So let's dive into the product. Why don't you show us exactly what Homebot is and why it's a value add to our clients?
Yeah, absolutely. So just to confirm, you can see my computer screen?
Yep.
Okay. And then I know not everybody can, so I'm going to try to be very detailed here in my explanation. But ultimately, what your clients are going to get from you is a monthly email. And it's really more of just a pulse on saying, hey, your report's been updated. You can come in here and check this out. But you're going to notice that your consumers come in here way more often than once a month. You can track that activity. But once they're in here, they're going to be able to see this specific content on their home, again, tailor-made to them. So you're branded as the real estate agent or the loan officer at the very top and bottom and throughout this content. And I'll just give you a quick overview of these pieces of information that they're going to get. So it starts with understanding their value and equity. They can see what their estimated home value is. And as Jeff mentioned, his has been pretty spot on. What we do understand is that these values are computer generated estimates. And the real power of Homebot is this button right here. It says, do you want to verify this? We want those consumers to, if they disagree, come back to you, not somebody else. So that's what's going to generate a lot of CMA requests. You get to come in and save the day and verify and update that value for them in real time. Understanding their net worth or equity. So a lot of people don't know that. So giving them this information so they can truly understand what their options are now. Then it starts to get very interesting for a homeowner. Where's their money actually going, right? People always hear they're going to pay a lot in interest, but they don't know what that means. And so we lay it out here to say, green is good and red is bad. They can see these figures and they know exactly how much they're paying towards interest. So if they wanted to refinance, we lay out a couple of options for them. They can learn more about that. And if you're an agent that's got a lender sponsoring you, that's where the loan officer is going to show up to answer your client's questions specifically on refinancing and what it could do for them.
Real quick, go back up, Nina.
Yeah.
So the funny thing, like where she said green for how much has gone towards principal, that's what everyone wants to know. $40,000 on this specific example that we're looking at. And then on the interest, it shows it's paid $103,000. Mm-hmm. And so it also shows a pie chart. So it's like 75% of that pie chart is the money that's gone towards interest. Now, people should know this when they first sign up with these mortgages, but after years pass, you start to kind of forget, like, how much have I paid down? How much has gone towards interest? And as most people know, they're front end heavy, where you're paying a majority of the interest your first 23 years or something like that. And so I love that it does this great breakdown analysis to show you how much would you be at had you done a 15-year loan. You'd be at $111,000 already towards principal versus 40. Had you done a 25-year loan, you'd be at $86.98 towards principal. Maybe that's in addition to. So an additional $8,000 towards principal. And then it shows how much you would have lost over the 30 years. So I think that it's pretty awesome to be able to have it break down and show you, hey, should you refi today? This is how it's going to positively impact you. And then it shows whatever the current rates are. It goes based off prime plus probably, and has all the rates included in there as well, based on when the email goes out.
Yep, that's exactly right. So again, just showing them, like you said, hey, 75% of this has gone towards interest. Let's change something if you want to be smart about it. Also helping this homeowner understand the power of adding principal payments. Again, something people hear about, but are they actually doing it? Probably not. Well, they can change this value here. So we've got a sliding scale from $50 a month all the way up to $1,000 if they wanted to.
Cool. I didn't even know it had this.
Yeah, just paying $50 a month into your principal payment, depending upon your loan and where it's at, you could potentially save.
You know what I tell our clients all the time? People, and I don't know why, but people in America treat their tax refund like it's a bonus check. Mm-hmm. And I always laugh because I'm like, you realize that's your money. You just paid the government more than you were supposed to and let them invest your money. What I recommend people do, instead of taking a trip or going on a shopping spree, is you take whatever money you have in your tax refund and put it towards your mortgage. And I've been told, I think that if you make one additional mortgage payment a year, you'll end up having your loan paid off, I think, within 17 years versus 30.
Yeah, so that's a great point right there. So while we're showing adding it in monthly, there's a question here that they could ask, what if I made one single large payment? So that's a great point there.
Very cool.
A couple other things, helping people understand, if they wanted to buy a dream home, or if they're thinking about an investment property, what opportunities do they have? And this is just really a way to ignite that thought for them by saying, yeah, we've been thinking about this. How did Homebot know?
Mhm.
And we're breaking out a theoretical for them because we really want them to raise their hand and ask you guys, the agent and the lender, what do we qualify for, right? We've got enough equity. Let's talk about our specific scenario.
Real quick, I'll pause too and say one of the other things that really caught my attention is my database is really robust. I think when we add in investment leads, we have over 300,000 people in our Boomtown CRM. And Homebot will also allow you to send out emails to potential buyers and send this same statistical data based on different subdivisions and or based on certain zip codes. And so if you have a buyer searching in, 5555555 zip code, and they're able to put that zip code into the Homebot system, it'll show them market trends of that zip code and what areas are selling well, what areas aren't, what the average sales price is in each area, the different market trends to help them make better buying decisions. So what great way to keep your content relative and bring value to a potential buyer that maybe was an internet lead that wouldn't otherwise come back to you by creating a redirect in your email signature or your messaging signature so they get that Homebot valuation and then redirect back to your site to look at more property.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's an amazing way to nurture your leads. So it doesn't have to be just about homeowners. Get those prospects, leads, people you're pre-qualifying.
Yeah, if you're a new agent and you don't have any closed sales or you only have 5 or 10 closed sales, this is still crazy. I'd say more useful for potential leads versus the ones that have already closed, because your hope would be the ones that have already closed are still going to use you on their next transaction. Whereas the ones that have never used you before are going to see that this is an additional way that you create value. It was funny. One of the reasons I reconnected with Nina was about a month ago. A close friend of mine, close family friend and past client, had received this report on their vacation home they own in Scottsdale. And he forwarded me the report and said, hey, have you ever heard of this company? This report is fascinating. And this guy's a very successful, savvy businessman. And he was impressed with these dashboards and the analytics and all the data that was empowered to him. And I said, it's funny you asked this. I met the owners last summer in Denver, and I've actually been beta testing this for 6 months because I don't take my new software relationships very lightly, be it that I have so many people that listen to the podcast and 150 coaching clients, and of course, my real estate team of 50 people. I need to make sure that the tech works and that it's relative and valuable and useful. And I vouch for your Homebot. You guys definitely have done an amazing thing here with this product. So I'll let you finish. She's, just so anyone that's not watching, she's scrolling down. So everything she's been talking about has been several scrolls to see different images, and it's very, very fancy looking. You've got like a black background and really cool little icons. And like you mentioned, every figure in green is good, and anything bad is in red. So I really like how the dashboards look.
Yeah, perfect. And just to mention on that point, it's a mobile ready website. So everything that we're seeing is in one long scroll format because we understand people are probably looking at this on their phone, right? So if they're pulling it up on their phone, we want them to just be able to scroll through that report, say, this is awesome content, and then connect with you. So a couple other features here, and then we can answer any other questions. Equity, right? People don't think of their home as an asset, much less a retirement plan. So if they're going to take cash out of their home, we want them to be really smart about that. So going to Europe, this is one of the suggestions, taking some cash out to go on a great vacation, not the best choice, right? Don't do that with your equity, which is why we highlight that in red. But everything else is a pretty solid opportunity. You could eliminate some debt, pay down loans, maybe create an emergency fund. Be that smart homeowner.
I disagree. I say go on the trip. Get a home equity line of credit, spend 6 months in Europe. You'll never regret it.
The memories will be there forever.
That's right. And so will the payment.
Yeah, exactly. And really the last piece for the homeowner that I just love, we live in a sharing society today, and people are getting very crafty. So what we're showing here is short-term rental potential. And this homeowner has the opportunity to see what their house could rent for. And this is real-time data coming within a 1 mile radius around their home address from Airbnb.
That's cool.
If they rented their house out, not even that often, maybe they could make a revenue around $3,000. And like you said today, they may be thinking, great, this is fun money, right? With the tax return. But this is the same concept. Take that money, put it back into your principal, homeowners, because that's where you're going to save even more money and more time. So empowering them to make smart decisions.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, so somebody maybe when we go back to a buyer's market and the house is sitting for a long time, or if it's a luxury price point and it's sitting, they might be able to make the decision to sit a little longer, wait for the market to shift, and be able to continue to make a profit and pay down their principal rather than eating their mortgage payment every single month and utilities and taxes and insurance and all of that fun stuff.
Yep. That's exactly right.
The number one question everyone's wanting to ask is, how does this make them money? And when you talk about call to action, what's the CTA of this product? There's several built in, and that's one of the things that was really compelling for me. So you have a redirect that goes to your mortgage lender who pays the $200 a month that partners with you in this, and that's how we keep it RESPA and CFPB compliant. And then you have the agent that's obviously attached to everything. So anytime someone wants more information or disagrees with any of the data or analysis that they've received, of course, they're going to contact the agent. They're not contacting Homebot. If the address is wrong that you have for them, they're contacting the agent. They're not contacting Homebot. And then anything mortgage specific, we obviously as agents don't want to have to field those questions. Those are going to go to the mortgage lender. Hey, what if I refi? Hey, what are the rates right now? Any questions specific to the mortgage conversation? And then of course, as you have this partnership with your mortgage lender, any leads that go their way, hopefully they send them to you. Any leads that go your way, hopefully you'd kick them up to the mortgage lender. But in addition to that, Nina, what are some of the other call to actions that you found are valuable inside of the software?
Yeah, absolutely. So those direct messages, we love those features. We also love lead generation, right? It's not just for staying connected to your current database. People are going to love this thing and they're going to want to share it with other people. So your own customers have the power to send you referrals. And then we also have a couple of other great lead gen features. I'm just scrolling up back into my client dashboard to show you guys a few more share options. 3 ways to generate leads in Homebot. You have your own landing page. So this is for you to get as creative with it as you want. Put it at the bottom of your email as a signature line, some call to action where people are going to actually opt into Homebot. Share it on social media. We're nationwide. You guys work on referrals, right? So let anybody across the country put in their home address and you can help facilitate those conversations. And then today, we actually came out with nationwide embedding a widget on your website.
That's cool.
Yeah, so big calls to action to generate new leads, not just nurture the clients you currently have.
That's cool. I know Nina had mentioned earlier, I have a link on my omahaselite.com site that says home valuation, where someone could go in and find their own specific home valuation. They would run that through Boomtown and then get the analysis, and then we generate the lead on the back end of our website. And so ultimately, if you didn't have something like that, or if you'd want to replace that, you now have this widget that you could embed into your site, and people just plug in their address, click check, and then it cross-references that address in the master database. And if the property has found its match, then it'll automatically show that it matched and they can request information from you.
Yep, absolutely.
Cool. Love it. The other thing that hasn't been mentioned, Nina, is that you had mentioned after the digest goes out, it essentially, let's say you have 1,000 people that it goes out to. It doesn't just all go out in one splash. It drips out to them. So you won't be inundated with responses after one mass email goes out, like a lot of the different email communication we do with SOI. But one of the things that I really like analytically that you guys provide is a click report. So you can go into your dashboard and you can see how many people have opened, how many have clicked on something, how many, who are the best leads for me to follow up with. So it shows how many digest sent, emails open, digest views, CMA requests. And so it's essentially a call to action. Okay, I had 11 CMA requests. I'm going to follow up with those for sure. If I have the extra time, maybe I call and just say, hey, I saw you open up your digest. Do you have any questions for me? But you could assume that the people that are actually clicking into this content would be the most likely leads of yours that would either buy with you or refer business back to you.
Yep, that's exactly right. And, it's a great point here to know that you're seeing this activity happen. And if you've got somebody that has opened this up multiple times in a given week, pick up the phone and call them. You don't even have to mention Homebot, right? But you could have their content pulled up in front of them and ready to go. And if the conversation takes you there, well, boom, you're ready to answer their questions.
Yeah, I love it. And Boomtown, which is a CRM that we use and a lot of our clients use as well. And I think there's other competing platforms that have similar functions, but they have what we call the Boomtown Now wall. So just like this, it'll kind of tell you using predictable analytics, what leads are the best to follow up with based on their interactions. Like you said, they come out a second time or they print something off or they post it to Facebook. What I think would be cool, and this is from a forward thinking standpoint, is figuring out how we could create an API with Boomtown, with Commissions Inc., with some of these other big CRM companies, so that when someone does become a lead within Homebot, it automatically puts that lead into our CRM. And when somebody does look at something for the third time, it puts them onto our Boomtown Now wall. So as we are thinking about development moving to the future, that I think agents would really like that all to be integrated in one place.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're currently building out that open API. So hopefully that's coming in the near future.
Cool.
Yeah.
What else do we need to know? How do we get, if someone listened to this and they're like, this is awesome,
Yeah.
I want to check it out. That's nothing. $25 a month? Are you kidding me? To stay in contact with your entire sphere of influence. So how does somebody reach out to get set up, and tell everyone about the discount that we were able to negotiate on their behalf?
Yeah, absolutely. So homebot.ai is our website. So whether you're a lender or a real estate agent, you're just going to come here. If you guys can see it on my screen, homebot.ai. There's a big pink button. Apparently we love pink around here, right? Get started. All you have to do is click that and choose I'm a lender or I'm an agent. Now what we're doing specifically for all of you guys is creating a code for you to take half of your setup fee off. So for a real estate agent, it's usually $50 for a one-time setup fee. And for a lender, it's a one-time setup fee of $200. So if you're an agent, you're going to use Omaha's Elite 25. All one word, lowercase, Omaha's Elite 25. And if you're a lender, you're going to use the same code, but replace it, Omaha's Elite 100, Omaha's Elite 100, and that's going to cut your typical setup fee in half to get started.
Cool. Thank you for doing that. That's awesome.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you just click I'm an agent. You can get set up through there. If somebody wants to reach out to you with specific questions, should they do that through the website, or do you have an email address you'd want to share?
Yeah, I do. Absolutely. So you guys can email sales@homebot.ai. Here's my personal email address as well. Nina@homebot.ai. Always happy to answer any questions for you guys.
And just be sure you mention that you listen to the podcast, the Team Building Podcast with Jeff Cohn, or if you remember the Omaha's Elite discount codes, we want to be sure we get you guys that 50% off on the setup fees. Nina, that was awesome. This is Nina's first podcast. She said, don't be embarrassed. And I'm letting all the listeners know I think you did an amazing job.
Thank you. That was fun. I had a great time.
You did an awesome job. Well, you brought a lot of value to our listeners, and that's key. So if you guys appreciated Nina's time today and you got a lot of value out of this, please go out to iTunes under podcast, give us a 5-star review, and give a little shout out to Homebot. I know there's going to be a lot of success stories, so we'd love to get you back on maybe in 6 months from now and talk about all of the great feedback that we've been getting from our clients. This is a value add. This is how you stay relative. This is how you stay top of mind in front of everyone that's ever bought with you or registered on your website. I vouch for these guys. We just launched our campaign literally this month. We're really excited to see what the results are over the next couple of months, and we'll be able to share those results with you here in 6 months from now or so. So stay tuned for our next episode with Nina talking about Homebot. We appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.